Hi, I'm Megan Kuhn with Powerhouse Real Estate, and today I want to explain to you earnest money. Earnest money is something that you will have to pay as a buyer, and so I wanted to talk to you about what it is, how it works, and when you might lose your earnest money. Earnest money is an amount that you'll be putting down as a buyer upon acceptance of your offer. So when you write an offer for a property and the seller accepts your offer, then you will be required to put the earnest money down. You get to choose how much this earnest money is, and it's written into the contract. Usually we see this anywhere from $1,000 to $10,000, just depending on how aggressive you want to be about your offer, what the current market is looking like, and the purchase price. And so this money will be collected right up front upon acceptance. It's held in the brokerage account, so whoever your real estate agent is, they will hold it in their brokerage trust account that's specifically for earnest money, and it will sit there until closing. This money is not lost money, or it's not an additional fee that you have to pay. It will come back to you at the end, but it will be held until closing. So it will then be applied to your closing costs or given back to you if it's excessive to the amount that you owe at closing. The reason that we have earnest money as part of a contract is sort of like collateral. This is your collateral to the seller, stating that you have full intentions of purchasing this property and you have some skin in the game to do so. This allows the seller to take the bet on you and put you under contract. Now, you do have a lot of opportunities to get that earnest money back throughout the process. So you have your inspection period, and during that inspection period, if you find any reason that you don't feel like the home is what you were looking for or what you're wanting or in the condition that you thought it was, you're able to get that earnest money back through canceling. Or if your financing fails before your financing and appraisal deadline, or if the appraisal comes in low and the seller is unwilling to negotiate, you're able to get that earnest money back at that point. Once you pass that financing and appraisal deadline, that money is locked in. At that point, it's very difficult to get it back, and it will be released to the seller if you decide to cancel. Now, one thing that I say to my buyers throughout this process is that in most cases, your earnest money is very protected. The only reason that you really would lose it is if you decide to, number one, drag your feet and take forever to decide on all of these things and get documents to your lender to make sure that we're meeting our deadlines. Or number two, if you just decide at the very end, never mind, I don't want to buy this house. That's really the only reason that you would lose it, because we're keeping a close eye on those dates and we are reasonably setting those dates with our expectations of when you should be able to complete those deadlines. So there shouldn't really be a reason for you to lose it. As a seller, one thing that you should keep in mind when it comes to earnest money is, number one, the buyer does have the opportunity to take it during those deadlines. So if they choose to walk away, you don't always get to keep that money unless it's at the very end, like I discussed before. But another thing to keep in mind is the way that our contract is written in Utah, it is very difficult for a seller to be released from a contract that they've signed. Really, they don't have a lot of opportunity to get out of it unless the buyer chooses to cancel. So if for some reason you decide to cancel the contract, then you would be required to release the earnest money back to the buyer and match it. So if they put $5,000 earnest money down and you choose to cancel for whatever reason, you would have to release it back to them and pay the buyer $5,000 to get out of the contract. So keep that in mind as well. If you need to be totally sure that you're ready to sell that house as you go into the contract, because like I said, there's just little room for a seller to get out of the contract once they're locked in. If you have any other questions about earnest money or anything pertaining to the real estate contract, feel free to comment below and I'm happy to answer your questions. I'm Megan Kuhn with Powerhouse Real Estate.